Hallo und herzlich willkommen zurück zur neuen Folge von Vampyr. Letzten Part hatten wir eine kleine Falle mit McCallum, beziehungsweise eine kleine Falle von McCallum. Und wir sollen Dr. Swansea hier vom Theater befreien, so wie auch das Buch von Telltree gefunden haben. Oder Talltree. Egal. So wie definitiv jetzt einen Unterschied macht vom Schaden und allem durch die ganzen Stufen, die wir dazu gewonnen haben. Aber na gut, hört mir Dr. Swansea.
Edgar. Edgar, can you hear me?
Jonathan, is it really you?
Easy. Easy. Save your strength. I'm getting you out of here.
Don't try to spare me. As a physician, I know all too well when it's too late. Punctured lung, broken ribs, and internal bleeding. An accurate diagnosis, wouldn't you say?
Edgar, what happened?
They wanted me to confess. Beat me black and blue.
Jeffrey McCullum ambushed me at the Pembroke Hospital. He was convinced you and I were responsible for the Skull epidemic.
I never imagined that self-righteous fanatic would dare to attack us in the open. What became of him?
I put him in a somewhat delicate position when I made him an immortal.
Really? You sure that was the wisest course of action?
Time will tell. The most intriguing part of his accusation was that you and I were the pawns of some ancient vampire.
William Marshall. Yes, they tortured me to make me confess the same nonsense.
Ja, Dr. Swansea verbirgt trotzdem etwas. Alleine da die Vampyr-Gegenmaßnahmen da installiert habe im Krankenhaus.
I think you're hiding something, Edgar.
What do you mean?
William Marshall, for example. You speak of him as if you know him. How is that?
Jonathan, I cannot say I'm ready for another round of questions.
Ja, wir bräuchten trotzdem irgendwann mal Antworten.
What can you tell me about William Marshall?
Not much. History paints the story he was the greatest knight who ever lived. Amongst the immortals, he had a yet greater legend.
Why is the Guard of Priwen so obsessed with him?
He was the only ancient vampire to escape the first great hunt launched by the Guard of Priwen in 1854. They believe he's an evil creature plotting his return.
Why would he deserve such a reputation?
I cannot say. The Brotherhood of St. Paul's Stole has next to no intelligence on him. All I know is that he's supposed to be the oldest of all the British vampires.
Könnte es vielleicht sein, dass in der Urne nicht William Marshall war, sondern William Marshall der ist, der uns zum Icon gemacht hat? Könnte das sein? Passt das zusammen? Nachdem Jonathan ja doch relativ stark ist und seine Nachkommen, wie man es ja an Mary gesehen haben, auch nicht gerade die schwächsten sind.
Why would the Guard of Priwen believe you and I created the vampire epidemic?
Maybe due to our profession. Because I offered you shelter in my hospital.
Nee, ich glaube eher, das hängt mit Miss Jones zusammen. Nachdem ja Doris Fletcher die Tochter von ihr ist.
While investigating the epidemic, I read some of McCullum's findings. I think you have some explaining to do.
I have nothing to hide, Jonathan. Nothing at all.
Do you know Doris Fletcher's real name?
No, I'm afraid not.
Her real name was Doris Jones. She was the daughter of Harriet Jones.
What do you want me to say, Jonathan?
Do you remember when we suspected Sean Hampton of killing Harriet Jones?
Yes. The terrible episode that came as a shock to us all.
Harriet Jones faked her own death. When I found her in the sewers, she confessed she wanted everybody to pay for what happened to her.
That woman was extremely bitter, full of hatred and festering anger.
Ja, aber Doris Fletcher hat ja schon mal sich trotzdem nach ihr erkundigt.
Doris Fletcher visited her mother at the Pembroke Hospital. That's how she first got infected.
I know nothing about that. Miss Fletcher once came to visit the sick. That is all I know.
No, Edgar, there is more. Doris Fletcher was Harriet Jones's daughter. They exhibited the same symptoms: blind hate and strong physical mutation.
What does this sad story have to do with us?
Do you know where we are? Doris Fletcher's theater. This is where that hateful creature plotted to spread the epidemic across London.
I only briefly met Miss Fletcher once when she visited the Pembroke Hospital. You say it was to see her mother. She seemed like such a sweet and graceful woman.
My point exactly. The disease turned her into a bitter soul, driven by vengeance just like her mother. A symptom of all the infected patients.
Certain diseases are known to produce similar effects. Rabies, for example. And rabies is not the devil at work.
Ja, schwierig. Es gibt trotzdem ein paar Zusammenhänge. Wie gesagt, irgendwas verbirgt, das merkt man auch in seinen Antworten.
Come on, Edgar. Don't you see the pattern here? The epidemic, the link between Doris and Harriet, the suspicion of McCullum?
How could I? I never saw Harriet Jones again after she fled the hospital.
Doris and Harriet shared more than a hidden family bond. They were the embodiment of the epidemic and are linked to the Pembroke Hospital. Come on, Edgar, this is no coincidence.
I swear I'm at a complete loss. All I did was administer vampire blood to cure old Harriet. There was no evil plan, no diabolical plot.
You did what?
I tested the regenerating and healing properties of vampire blood on Harriet Jones. My only intention was to find the cure for influenza, I swear.
Whose blood did you use? William Marshall's? Mine?
Lady Ashbury's. While transfusing her with human blood, humanely appeasing her hunger, I also kept samples of her blood for my research.
You used her blood on Harriet Jones? My God, Edgar, that's unethical. You betrayed 2 of your patients at the same time.
How dare you judge me? Must I name the alarming list of your victims?
We are both deceivers. But at least I know I'm a monster.
You have worked beside me. You saw what I'm doing at Pembroke Hospital. Jonathan, you know I'm not an evil soul. Just another victim of this tragedy.
Okay. Wir könnten Edgar umwandeln. Kostet 3000 Erfahrung. Oder wir lassen ihn sterben. Ich meine, er hat Fehler gemacht. Aber jetzt wissen wir, dass Lady Ashby nicht unsere Schöpferin ist. Nachdem Harriet Joan auch zu einem Skull geworden ist. Heißt Lady Ashby ist auch nur ein niederer Icon. Eigentlich bleibt es sich fast egal. Ich meine, ich habe keine Informationen zu Edgar gefunden. Wüsste auch gerade nicht, wo ich die hätte finden sollen. Hat er ja doch ein paar Hinweise hätte. Na gut, verwandeln wir ihn.
No, Edgar, you are not going to die. Unless you want to.
What do you mean?
I can save you, Edgar. I can turn your broken body into one like mine.
You truly would? After all I've done, after all that's been said, you would offer me this gift?
I have no way of knowing which punishment would be worse, Edgar. But it is not for me to decide. So?
Oh, please, Jonathan, please. I beg you. This is what I've always wanted. This is what I've always searched for.
Very well, then. Prepare to die and be reborn. To face an eternity of guilt.
I'm ready. Oh, indeed, I am ready.
Enough!
Ich weiß nicht, ob es vielleicht nicht doch eine schlechte Entscheidung war, so wie er reagiert hat. Aber ja, Jonathan hat schon recht. Er weiß nicht, ich wüsste auch nicht, was die schwierige Strafe ist. Oder die größere. Sagen wir es so rum. Okay, es sind sogar zwei Ich glaube, das sind einfach nur die Optionen, die man wählen kann. Aussaugen, sterben lassen oder verwandeln. Nachdem 2 von 3 fehlgeschlagen sind. Lag hier nichts mehr rum. Ah, hier ist noch was. Ah ne, von da kam ich. Ne, hier ist nichts mehr. Ich weiß nicht, ob es die richtige Wahl war. Aber na gut. Es kann sowieso nur noch schlimmer werden. Und wie gesagt, ich nehme mal an, ich brauche die Erfahrung nicht unbedingt. Ich habe jetzt nochmal 3000 geopfert. Aber wie gesagt, es fehlen mir eigentlich gerade nur 6000, dann habe ich die hier auch auf Maximum. Selbst wenn sie nicht so effektiv sind, hätte ich lieber das obere wählen sollen. Ja, und sonst halt noch Ausdauer. Ausdauer bzw. Blut erhöhen. Echt viel mehr bleibt eh nicht übrig. Dann ist halt wieder Munition sparen. Aber eine Frage hat sich damit auch geklärt. Nicht wer im direkten Vergleich stärker wäre. Und Jumbo ist Dr. Reed stärker als Lady Ashbury.
I will return later.
Das dann nicht.
So Harriet Jones became the original carrier when Edgar gave her vampire blood. I must tell
Zu
Elizabeth.
viel erfahren hat. Und seinen kurzen Icon-Leben. Da hat sie halt einfach schon mehr Erfahrung mit den Icons und so weiter. Okay. Dann bringe ich noch das Notizbuch zurück. Dann können wir den nicht auch direkt legen. Ich weiß nicht, ob Lady Ashbury davon gegeistert sein wird, dass wir Dr. sie verwandelt haben. Stimmt, der ist ja auch wieder zurück. Er war der Zweite, der gesucht wurde, weil er auch von Vampyr festgehalten wurde. Ich erinnere mich wieder. Es ist nur so lange aus gewesen, dass ich es verdrängt habe. Ich wollte gerade sagen, das ist ein Mischwesen. Die haben sich weiterentwickelt. Das war jetzt nicht so eine Glocke mit von einer solchen Verteiler-Skull, mehr oder weniger. Ich weiß gar nicht, wie ich es sonst erklären soll. So, dann bringen wir sein Buch zurück.
Good evening, Jonathan Reed. Can I help you in any way?
Natürlich.
I found your notebook. The one the guard of Pre-One stole from you.
And you've brought it back to me. That's excellent news, Jonathan. Were you able to keep yourself from reading it?
No.
Ah, the oldest temptation of all. If Pandora herself did not pass the test, I suppose I should not blame you for your curiosity.
So you're not angry with me?
Why should I be? To live is to make choices, Jonathan. And you made yours. Now give it to me, please.
Tell me the truth, Usher. Are you a vampire?
By the stole, you really thought you could force Usher Talltree to yield to your little mind tricks like an oblivious mortal?
Okay. Heißt, er ist ein Vampir.
So, are you or are you not a vampire?
As a brilliant man once said, to be unambiguous can only be to one's own detriment.
Wenn ich Rätseln sprechen würde, wäre es auch einfacher.
Why can't I force you to answer me then?
I'm the primate of St. Paul's Stole. It comes with certain advantages, like accessing the greatest library in the country and avoiding answering certain questions.
Ja, der Tod ist trotzdem in Ordnung gangbar.
I should have seen it coming. I should have put a ban upon you. But there was too much at stake.
Okay. Starkes Terror. Nehme ich gern. Das soll ich nicht. Seine Karten haben wir auch erhalten. Dass wir so viel sammeln konnten, hätte ich nicht geglaubt. Weil ich habe, wie gesagt, ich habe ja bei meinen alten Spielstand mal reingeschaut. Und da hatte ich zwar alle Bezirke feindlich kritischen Status, beziehungsweise feindlichen Status, aber deutlich weniger Erfahrung und deutlich weniger Leute ausgesorgt. Beziehungsweise, ich glaube, hier hatte ich gerade mal vielleicht einen kleinen Teil. Nicht mal die Hälfte von dem, was ich jetzt gerade habe, in dem Spielstand. Ja, das waren halt, weiß nicht. Da habe ich Spiele, glaube ich, noch anders gespielt. Wenn man so sagen kann. Ich meine, ich war... Das ist auch der Grund, wieso ich annehme, dass das so reicht. Ich war da gerade mal auf Stufe 42 am Ende. Und von dem her nehme ich mal an, dass 40 um den Dreh reichen sollte. Und jetzt eigentlich nicht mehr so viel leveln müsste. Okay. Das ist wahrscheinlich reine Geschmackssache. Sie ist ja auch wieder zurück.
Good evening, Miss Teasdale. How have you been since you returned home?
Dr. Reed. Oh, thank God you returned safely from these awful streets. I was so worried about my father that I left without thanking you properly.
Please don't mention it, miss.
Good. I found him, you know. My dad. Or what was left of him. I think my abductor intended to do the same thing to me.
Nicht ganz.
What do you do for a living, Miss Teasdale?
Before my kidnapping, I was a waitress in a pub. Now I'm unemployed.
Were you fired?
No. It's just that after my recent experience, I don't feel like I can go back to my normal life. I need to do something useful.
Be very careful, Miss Teasdale. You were lucky to escape death once, but vampires lurk everywhere.
You killed my kidnapper by yourself, didn't you? No offense, Doctor, but you're just a doctor. I don't see why I couldn't do the same.
Ja, das stimmt nicht ganz.
Be very...
You killed...
What do you intend to do?
Dad always told me, Louise, if you want something, don't stop until you have it. I did my research and I found it. Ichabod Throgmorton, professional vampire hunter. I'll be his apprentice.
Ja, den gibt's auch nicht mehr.
What can you tell me about this area?
I've never really liked this part of town. It was where my father wanted to live. I won't remain here much longer.
What exactly don't you like about it?
People here are contemptuous and elitist. My dad always said, Louise, always treat people like you want them to treat you.
Das Ding ist wahrscheinlich... Ich weiß gar nicht mehr, ob Iggybotten noch eine Antwort hätte. Denn falls ja, dann würde es mit ihr zusammenhängen.
You seem to cherish your father a great deal.
Dad was the best. He kept an eye on me, but let me make my own mistakes. Louise used to say, mistakes are the best teacher. You would have liked him.
I'm sorry you didn't have the opportunity to say goodbye.
That's all right. He's buried in consecrated ground now. Nothing bad can happen to him.
Louise, what can you tell me about the vampire who captured you?
The little fucker claimed he'd fallen in love with me. That he wanted to spend eternity with me. Not a bad idea. At least that's the way it seemed at first.
Really? Did you consider accepting his proposal?
Well, immortality. Not a common wedding gift, is it? I think he just wanted to have his way with me. Can vampires even fuck, Doctor?
What? Well, I really can't answer that. Well, since they are creatures of blood, physically speaking, I suppose an erection is possible, but
Don't be embarrassed, Dr. Reed. I was just asking.
Ja, da haben wir einen Bericht drüber gehabt. Und ja, es ist möglich.
Louise, tell me what you really think about your father's sacrifice to save you.
I'm proud he went after me. I forgive him all his harsh words, all his bloody attitudes. I only wish I could tell him how much I loved him.
Yes. It can be traumatic not having the chance to say goodbye to those we love.
Yes, Doctor. And there's no treatment for that type of pain, isn't that right? That may be the last thing my father taught me.
Goodbye, Miss Teasdale, and be careful. Until we meet again.
Okay, ja, ich nehme mal an, dass Iggybotten da die letzte Antwort hätte für uns, nachdem sie jetzt bei ihm angefangen hätte.
Good evening.
Ne, mit ihm wollte ich nicht sprechen. Ich wollte mit ihm hier sprechen, nachdem er ja auch von einem Vampir entführt wurde. Beziehungsweise festgehalten.
We meet again, Mr. Kimura, in a more peaceful situation.
Dr. Reed, still visiting London by night?
We must both be nocturnal animals, you and I. After your captivity, I thought you'd be more cautious.
Breathing the cold night air helps calm my mind, sir. I've had the most frightening nightmares since I escaped that filthy jail.
Ja, dass man da nicht ganz unbeschadet rauskommt. Ist verständlich.
May I ask you what you do for a living, Mr. Kimura?
I was a landlord. A wealthy one. And not a very kind one, I realized recently.
Why this sudden epiphany? Is it because of your near-death experience?
I was already feeling nostalgic about Weymouth, my hometown. With recent events, I'm thinking about going back there.
Ist vielleicht eine gute Entscheidung.
How is the situation in the West End?
I've heard rumors about armed men patrolling and fighting infected citizens in these very streets. I was lucky they didn't shoot me when I was abducted.
Ja, da hat er wirklich Glück, weil die schießen auf so gut wie jeden, der sich ihnen nähert.
What can you tell me about your abduction?
If you really want to know, I was locked in that building for 3 or 4 days. My jailer was insane, mumbling about sacrifice and voices.
And why didn't he sacrifice you?
That was the weirdest part. He claimed to spill blood was not enough. It had to be done when some stars were aligned.
Which stars?
That's the whole point. He wanted me to talk to him about some Red Queen configuration or constellation. I've never heard of such an astronomical term.
Okay. Eine rote Königin als Sternkonstellation. Interessant. Glaubt aber auch ein bisschen wahnsinnig.
What did he say about voices?
He constantly whined about the voice of his master, ordering him to do terrible things. He wanted to silence the voice by offering blood. My blood.
Ja, das klappt nicht. Wir haben den Erschaffer auch nur zweimal bisher getroffen.
Why are you so nostalgic for your hometown, Tadao?
I was focused so much on making money, I almost forgot that my relatives and friends are threatened by this epidemic.
Have you heard anything from your family?
I was not only a bad landlord, I was also a bad husband. I've not seen my wife and son for years. Busy, busy, busy.
At least now you're ready to go back and see them. But don't be surprised if your son bears a grudge, sir.
You make it sound like you suffered from an absent father yourself, Dr. Reed. Well, I'll keep your warning in mind.
Ja, in dem Fall weiß er, von was er spricht.
Have you no friends at all?
Over the years, I'm afraid my greed turned me into my friend's adversary, while I became friends with my professional rivals.
Those you grew up with didn't share your views on money and success.
Would you believe I was once a member of poetry circles and an astronomy club? We were young, such joyful dreamers then. But I stopped laughing long ago.
Beziehungsweise wir hatten schon ein paar andere, wo wir so Gespräche hatten mit Familienproblemen.
Tell me, Tadao, why was your abductor so interested in your passion for astronomy?
I dunno. We met a few times at the Royal Greenwich Observatory. He seemed to share my hobby. Then he invited me to his house and locked me in.
Yes, astronomy is a fascinating subject. When I was a child, my mother bought a small telescope for my sister and I. We spent many a pleasant evening stargazing.
Stars are not just dots in the sky, Doctor. They are the key to our understanding of the cosmos. They remind us how insignificant we are.
You're right. But children love magic and stories. I remember our mother told us constellations have the power to protect us.
Protection by the light of the stars. That's sweet. You remember the name of these constellations?
Ich kann von den Konstellationen keinen. Aber ich frage ihn einfach mal zu dem Sternbild des Drachen.
Draco. My favorite constellation.
Memory's a strange thing. I can recite without hesitation the names of the 88 constellations, yet I barely remember my own childhood.
Did he fake his interest in astronomy to get close to you?
No. In his madness, he spoke about a blood sacrifice to be made to his master when the stars aligned to a specific configuration.
Can you change? And is it what you really want? If so, it must come from within, not without.
I've seen what an altruistic gesture can do. Nothing forced you to save me, Dr. Reed, but you did. I will follow your example in these matters from now on.
Nö, wir sind kein guter Samariter.
Believe me, Mr. Kimura. I've met a few good Samaritans, but I'm not like them. Not at all.
I don't intend to be a saint. I don't think I have the fiber anyway. All I want is to do something good and useful in this world for a change.
Okay, na klar, dass wir damit versauen. Wo müssen wir ihn hinbringen? Einfach nur in die Richtung. Okay. Ich kann ihn schon mit noch Straße auszocken. Keine Hintergassen oder sonst irgendwas.
My family. I will never see them again. Will they ever know I died here? Will they remember me?
Ja, vielleicht auch nicht. Okay, ist wieder so ein Rückblatt. Da diesmal halt von ihm hier. Na gut. Allerdings, bevor wir jetzt hier was machen, will ich den Part an der Stelle auch schon beenden. Ich danke euch fürs Zusehen. Lasst eine Wertung da, was euch gefallen hat. Wenn nichts das wollt, könnt ihr euch gerne ein Abo da lassen und ich hoffe, wir sehen uns in der nächsten Folge von Vampyr wieder. Ciao.